I came home and saw my mom packing. I can't do this anymore, she said before walking out. My brother came back to help, but then we got the news that changed everything. The family fell apart, secrets were exposed, betrayals came to light, and in that moment, I realized. OOP was 19 when her mother told her she'd be gone for a week before Christmas and needed her to take care of her younger siblings. However, that week turned permanent when her mother later revealed she wouldn't be coming back at all. By the time OOP shared her story, 9 weeks had passed, and she was beginning to wonder if her mother's absence could lead to serious trouble with social services. OOP's father had walked out on the family years earlier and was never heard from again. Unfortunately, none of their extended family, including the siblings' grandmother, offered any help. Things only started to improve when OOP's older brother, Matt, returned home to support her. However, the transition wasn't easy. There were plenty of fights and frustrations as the younger siblings struggled to cope with their parents' abandonment and the lack of outside support. Before OOP, Matt, and their siblings could move into a new place for a fresh start, their mother had another baby girl, which deeply upset OOP. Despite the circumstances, OOP, Matt, and their older sister, number 2, made the collective decision to raise their 6 younger siblings, including the newborn. Now, as another year passes and the younger siblings grow older, OOP shares an update on how she and her family are adjusting. This Christmas marks their first together in their new home, with their older sister, number 2, officially joining them. Update. A long and rambling Christmas update for everyone who asked how it went. I'd love to say it was absolutely magical and perfect, but with this many wild kids, that was never really an option. The 23rd and 24th were tough since it marked a year since our mom left. The kids were extra clingy, anxious, and all over the place. On the night of the 23rd, the 9-year-old and 7-year-old refused to sleep at all. It was so bad that the 17-year-old offered to take care of the baby for the night. I ended up with both girls in my bed while Matt slept on the floor on the 9-year-old's mattress. I didn't get a single hour of sleep. I hated that the baby was in another room and wanted to go get her, but I couldn't risk waking the girls. So, I just lay there thinking, FML. Christmas Eve was rough too. The kids were acting off, grumpy, withdrawn, and just not themselves. They're usually in bad moods on Christmas Eve because they expect disappointment, and this year, that was mixed with the emotions of their mom's absence and adjusting to a new home. I had told them ahead of time that they'd be getting presents to help them feel excited instead of overwhelmed, but they were still not really in a festive mood. Then Christmas morning arrived, and seeing their joy was incredible. Watching them open their presents was so emotional, I actually cried. These kids are so grateful for everything, and it just breaks me. They only got 5 to 10 gifts each, but with so many of them, the whole house looked like something out of a Christmas movie. Matt, our older sister, number 2, and I exchanged gifts too, which was nice. The reactions were priceless. Our 7-year-old nearly lost it over a box full of bluey custard pouches, and the 9-year-old was so shocked that she just stopped after opening one gift. I had to remind her there were more for her. She couldn't believe it. All day, the 7-year-old kept saying, "I can't believe Santa knows where we live now." She also thinks Matt personally updated Santa with our new address, so he gets all the credit for that. She carried her new hippo stuffed animal around nonstop. The older kids were quieter in their happiness, but I could tell they were amazed. They all gave such genuine thank yous to Matt and me, which was a complete turnaround from last year's "why don't you go yourself" moments. Of course, I jinxed everything by joking, "You guys are being really nice today." Not long after, chaos broke loose. I finally got a moment to shower and wash my hair, thinking the day was going to be great, only to pick up the baby and immediately get puked on because someone, definitely not me, forgot to burp her properly. The rest of the kids were running wild. There were happy tears, sad tears, and fights. One of the 9-year-old's gifts broke within an hour, and she was absolutely devastated. By lunchtime, I was so exhausted that I took the baby for a nap, which I never do, and told Matt and our sister to deal with the rest of the kids because I needed a break from all the noise and crying. Matt took them all out, which was perfect. For food, I gave myself a break and just let the kids eat whatever they wanted, pizza, nuggets, and other easy stuff they like. No fancy meals this time. Matt had some smoked salmon and other seafood, but no one else really touched it, and I wasn't about to force them. By the afternoon, the energy levels were through the roof, even after Matt took them to the beach. They somehow came back even more hyper. The baby got startled awake multiple times because the kids kept making her jump, and I was at my limit. No matter how many times I told them to calm down, they ignored me, but, of course, they listened to Matt immediately, which just annoyed me more. The younger two got into their crafts while the older ones chilled with movies. We played a few games, which was nice. But by evening, emotions were all over the place. I don't know what happened, but while preparing dinner, kids just started disappearing into different rooms to cry. The baby peed all over the 13-year-old's new blanket, thanks to Matt putting the diaper on wrong, and managing everything felt like an impossible juggling act. Meanwhile, the 7-year-old, who's usually the one having meltdowns, was bouncing around the house like it was the best day ever. I had to beg her to tone it down while her sister was hyperventilating in another room, but she was in her own little world. By the end of the night, the 12-year-old and 9-year-old went to bed early because they were upset. The rest of us got treated to a theatrical performance by the 7-year-old. She called it a Christmas play, but it was actually about the Titanic, except in her version, it sank because of a tsunami. We watched another movie, and when I finally told the 7-year-old it was bedtime at 11 p.m., she had a full-blown meltdown because she didn't want the day to end. After wrestling her into pajamas, she talked me through every single event of the day as if I hadn't been there before, finally passing out. Surprisingly, she slept pretty well, only woke up twice, and the baby slept for 6 hours straight, which was a win. As expected, my mum didn't reach out. My oldest sister just sent a short, "Merry Christmas" message and emailed me a gift voucher, which was nice but not much. I kept my phone off most of the day, bracing for drama, but nothing came. Still, I always stupidly hope my mum will say something, wish her kids a Merry Christmas or ask how the baby is. Every day, I wonder if she even cares, but I know she never will. I need to stop hoping. On an unexpected note, my sister briefly spoke with one of my dad's other kids, and apparently, my dad is in prison for GBH, grievous bodily harm. There was a rumor that it was against my mom, but I don't think that's true. Either way, if he really is in prison, maybe that means my mom won't have any more kids, since, for some reason, she only seems interested in having them with my dad specifically. Despite how overwhelming Christmas was, I have to remind myself how far we've come. Last year, we had no money, no presents, and our nan chose to spend the day with our aunt while we were stuck at home. I spent the whole day trying to stop the kids from staring out the window, waiting for our mom to come back with gifts, while I spammed her with texts. I didn't have Matt or my sister helping me then. Thinking about that makes me so grateful for where we are now. Moving to a new place still feels surreal, and even though this Christmas was exhausting, it was so much better than last year. Anyway, this might be my longest post ever, sorry. If you made it this far, thanks for reading, and I hope you had a great Christmas. Update. Not the most uplifting update, just the reality of life right now, pure chaos. The summer holidays are still in full swing, which means the kids are home 24/7, and their energy levels are through the roof. The anxiety about starting a new school is getting worse by the day, and honestly, I feel like I can't catch a break. The moment I handle one kid, another one needs something, and it just never ends, day and night. The baby has also stopped sleeping as much, so she's requiring more attention. I'm actually typing this in the middle of the night while holding her because she wakes up every time I try to put her down, so at this point, I've just given up. My sister works FIFO, so she's here for a week and then gone for a week. When she's around, things are much easier. She takes the kids out, giving me a chance to breathe. I don't go out much except for baby and kid appointments, which seem never-ending. It's just too hot for the baby, and even the thought of organizing everything to leave the house makes me feel exhausted. The most I manage is a short walk in the evening or morning with the baby, usually bringing the 7, 9, and 12-year-old along so they can play at the park nearby. The 12-year-old skates around, definitely wouldn't want me saying he plays, lol. Other than that, I don't go far unless the kids are behaving and my sister is available. When she takes them out, that's my only downtime. I love them, of course, but I'm counting down the days until school starts. The 12-year-old often goes out skateboarding with neighborhood kids, and I don't have to supervise too much, just remind him to be home before dark, though he's hit or miss with that. Matt wants to enforce a strict 3 strikes and you're grounded rule, but I'm unsure about it. The last thing I need is a restless preteen stuck inside, annoying everyone. Overall, though, he's pretty easygoing, definitely a handful sometimes, but compared to the girls, he's an angel. The younger girls mostly stay home unless one of the older kids takes them to the park. Matt bought some big plastic tubs from Kmart, and they've been using them as makeshift Barbie swimming pools or reenacting dramatic shipwrecks. That keeps them busy for a while, but otherwise, they spend their time either terrorizing me or each other. Most days, the 9-year-old is in trouble for bothering the 7-year-old. I try separating them, but they'd rather fight than play alone. The 7-year-old has been struggling with night terrors and some other issues, which adds to the stress, but I know it's not her fault. The 13-year-old is impossible right now. Half the time, I can't even look at her without triggering an attitude. She sometimes goes out with the 12-year-old, but that usually ends in a fight. Yesterday, I ran out of patience and told her she couldn't go out because of how she was treating him. Matt and I both stood there telling her off, which in hindsight was probably too much at once. She lost it, called us dictators, and insisted she could go out if she wanted, only to sulk and stay in as told. She argues about everything but doesn't actually rebel much. We have all 4 of the younger kids' birthdays coming up, so I asked what they'd like to do. The 13-year-old surprised me by saying she wants to go out for food, just the 2 of us. I was like, HUH. Maybe she does like me after all, or maybe she just wants a public venue to yell at me in, lol. The 17-year-old is basically my bestie right now and absolutely adores the baby, which is a huge help. But when it comes to the other kids, she's a nightmare. She insists she's helping me by being super strict with them, but it just causes more drama. I've told her repeatedly that I don't need her enforcing discipline, but she argues that since she's almost an adult, she should help, like Matt and our older sister do. I appreciate the thought, but no thanks. A couple of days ago, the 7-year-old threw the TV remote at the 17-year-old, but it ended up hitting the baby instead. The 17-year-old immediately smacked her, then brought me 2 screaming kids to deal with. It took forever to calm them down, and I was furious. She claimed I was only mad because I'm too protective of the 7-year-old, which sent me into a full-blown rant. I told her if she ever hits one of the kids again, I'd lose my mind. Later, I felt frustrated because I know exactly where she's coming from. I used to think the same way. Honestly, the number of times I have to fight the urge to snap is insane, especially with all the overstimulation and bad behavior. The difference is, I have the restraint and motivation to break that cycle, but she doesn't. She thinks I'm wasting time on discipline that takes too long, whereas her method, smacking, gets an immediate reaction. She doesn't understand the long-term consequences. When I tried explaining it, she hit me with, well, you and all the older siblings turned out fine, and you had it way worse. I told her we are definitely not fine, and the fact that I have to actively stop myself from hitting my kids proves that. Her response? Maybe you should listen to your brain instead of your heart. You have guilt issues. Like, wow, thanks for the insight, kid. I told her if she couldn't understand why discipline needs to change, she needs to stay away from the younger kids. Making her apologize to the 7-year-old was like pulling teeth. She was so angry with me she ended up in tears. We had a deep conversation afterward, and I think we're okay now. It's strange, she gets defensive when I act too mom-like with her, but if I push through, she eventually opens up. I honestly don't know what I'll do if she crosses the line again, so I'm just hoping it won't happen. If I can just get through until school starts, I think things will calm down for everyone. The kids are all on waitlists for in-person therapy. 3 out of 5 threw tantrums about it, but I told them it's non-negotiable. I'm anxious for those sessions to start because I feel like we've hit a wall in some areas. So yeah, that's the current chaos. I know I'm just venting here, but it helps to get it all out, and I always get great advice from this space. And don't worry, I haven't lost my mind completely, and I don't hate my life. I'm just surviving. I keep reminding myself that this is temporary, and school will be my lifesaver. Only 3.5 weeks to go. Update. We have all 4 of the younger kids' birthdays coming up between January 25th and February 14th, so I wanted to see if anyone had ideas for ways to celebrate. Since they've never really had birthday celebrations before, they'll be happy with anything, but I want to make it special while keeping it affordable enough to repeat every year without financial stress. I don't want to set expectations too high. Right now, the plan is to give them a few presents, a cake, and a one-on-one outing with me or Matt, or both if they want, to do something special. Next year, once they have more friends, we can include them in the celebrations. I asked them what they'd like to do. 13-year-old wants to go out for a meal, just the 2 of us, which is easy. The others aren't sure yet, they're still caught up in the excitement of Christmas. For presents, we're considering spending a little less on the younger ones so we can put more of the budget toward gifts for the older 2. I feel a bit guilty about it, but I know the younger ones won't notice or mind, whereas the teenagers would really appreciate getting things they truly want. 7-year-old doesn't even know what she wants yet, but a neighbor kindly offered us a bunch of her daughter's toys in great condition, including a dollhouse with a whole bag of characters, so that's perfect. Matt also found a second-hand bike for 9-year-old at a great price, and she'll love it. She hasn't asked for one, but we know she wants it. Adding a couple of small gifts should make her birthday really special while keeping costs low. That way, we can focus more of the budget on 13 and 12-year-old. 13-year-old really wants an iPhone, and I've been hesitant, but if we can find a second-hand one, I'll probably go for it. I don't want her feeling like the odd one out when she starts a new school. 12-year-old is easy, He wants to go to a movie for the first time, and when I asked about gifts, he just said, I already got loads for Christmas. He didn't give any specific ideas, but I have a few things in mind that I know he'll like. The challenge is figuring out what to do for 7 and 9-year-olds outings. 7-year-old says she just wants to stay home and play jelly monsters in my bed, which is cute, but I'd love to take her somewhere new and fun. Since her birthday is last, I'm hoping she'll be inspired by what the others do. I'll take any ideas for activities or ways to make their birthdays feel extra special. I'm also feeling a bit overwhelmed since birthdays were never a thing in my family. The last time someone in real life said happy birthday to me was a teacher when I was 15. My mom never acknowledged birthdays, except for hers and my dad's, and if we ever mentioned them, she'd just say, if you want to celebrate someone, celebrate me since I did all the hard work. Some of her worst moments were on birthdays, even though the kid often didn't even know it was their birthday. So, while I know the kids will love whatever we do, I really want them to feel special. And if I'm being totally unrealistic about spending more on gifts for the older two, tell me. But right now, it just seems like the best way to go. Update. I just want to say a heartfelt thank you to everyone for your kindness and advice on my posts. I'm sorry I don't always reply to everyone, but I promise I read everything and truly appreciate you all taking the time to engage with my ramblings, whether through comments or messages. I only post to my own profile now so that only people who actually follow me and care will see my updates, but every time I post, I wonder if anyone still does, yet you always do. It honestly blows my mind that people care at all. If I sent a long message about one of the kids to my parents, they wouldn't even read it. Posting really helps me process my thoughts. It's like journaling. So many times, I've started writing something, only to realize midway that I'm completely overreacting or spiraling, which is honestly kind of hilarious. Getting an outside perspective is invaluable when I'm too caught up in my own head. Plus, I think it helps Matt too. If I didn't post here, he'd probably be the one hearing all of this nonstop, and I'm pretty sure he'd run out of patience fast. I honestly can't say thank you enough. And if you ever get tired of my updates, just let me know. I can always keep my thoughts in my drafts, where I store all the truly chaotic stuff anyway. Relevant comment. OOP responding to multiple comments about their situation and their strength, along with their older brother, in taking care of their siblings. OOP, thank you so much. One of the wildest things is how many people have reached out saying they've been in or are currently in the same situation. My favorite messages are the ones from people who were raised by their big sister and are still close. Hearing that things turned out okay gives me a lot of hope. I used to think our situation was rare, but it turns out it's not. As much as I wouldn't wish bad parents on anyone, it's comforting to know we're not alone in this. Hope your stepkids are doing well now. Update. Not really sure what this post is, just event, I guess. The past couple of days have been rough, and I feel like I'm stuck in my own head. Apparently, Reddit is my coping mechanism, a journal that talks back. So, 14-year-old got a phone for her birthday, and she absolutely loves it. She even said it's the best present she's ever received. Matt set up some restrictions, and we take it from her at night because I don't want her getting completely hooked. The first night I took it, she whined like crazy, and I shut that down real quick. Told her if she acted like that again, we'd have to rethink the whole phone situation. She didn't want to talk to me about it, so Matt and my older sister had a long conversation with her. The next night, she just handed me her phone before I even asked. After that, I thought we were good. We discussed the rules, wrote them down, and she seemed to be handling it well, wasn't even on my radar for any issues. Until she got into an argument with 17-year-old, and instead of letting it go, she kept it going over text, taking it way too far and making 17-year-old cry. Then she deleted the messages, like that would somehow make them disappear? Meanwhile, I could read the whole thing from 17-year-old's phone, so that was pointless. I was beyond done. Took her phone and told her I'd talk to Matt about if and when she'd get it back. She tried everything to make me change my mind, saying it was unfair because she just got the phone. But honestly, I don't care if she got it 5 minutes ago. If she's using it to say things she wouldn't dare say in person, she doesn't get to keep it. Cue the classic, "You're not my mom" speech. I just told her it didn't matter if I was her mom, sister, or some random distant cousin. I'm responsible for her, so it is what it is. She was furious, but I wasn't getting anywhere with her, and I had other things to deal with, so I let her be mad and moved on. Then, the next day, when I finally had a rare quiet moment from the baby and little kids, I was about to go talk to Matt about the whole phone situation when 14-year-old walks into my room with a belt in her hand and tells me to hit her with it so she can get her phone back. She straight up said, "I don't like your punishments. I just want you to hit me and leave me alone." Like, what? This isn't even the first time something like this has happened. A year ago, when I started setting actual rules, some of the kids would say the same kind of thing. They didn't understand why I was telling them no but wasn't angry. It was always this cycle of them asking why they couldn't do something, me explaining the reason, and them not getting it. They genuinely thought discipline meant punishment, and punishment meant getting hit. But this time, it felt completely different, and it threw me. Especially since it's been so long since any of them have said something like that. I spend every single day trying to get them to stop hitting each other, always reinforcing that violence doesn't solve problems. So for her to think I'd just go, yeah, sure, pass me the belt, after everything I've said? I don't even know what to do with that. Anyway, I took the belt off her and told her I was not going to hit her with anything, and we went round in circles about it until she legit started crying from frustration that I was saying no. Yelling at me and having a tantrum and saying I don't ever do what she wants. I was getting pissed off and knew I was about to lose my shit, so I walked off and left her in my room. I was trying to create some space for her and me to calm down, but she followed me still yelling, and then during us arguing we ended up back in my room. Matt started getting involved, and that did not help BC. He was struggling to not get mad at her for how she was speaking to me, and he had his scary dad voice on, which works with the other kids but turns 14 years old into a gray rock. Had to tell him to go. BC, as much as she was pissing me off, I prefer her to be yelling than silent, and I knew we needed to have it out. BC, it's been a couple months of a lot of bad vibes with her. Told him to go, just keep the other kids away. BC didn't need them interrupting. After it how much longer but felt like ages. I was trying not to, but I kind of lost my shit and was yelling back at her and told her to stop acting so fucking crazy and that she wasn't getting her phone back at all if she didn't stop yelling/crying, and I was all like, obviously you can't handle having a phone if you're acting like this over it. TBH, I was being a bitch. ADP. BC, I know she wasn't being like this over just the phone, it was a whole stack of stuff. I could feel myself about to go on a power trip and I wanted to do the whole, when I was your age I had it way worse crap. But I literally remind myself multiple times a day not to do that, so I fought it so hard. Realized how annoying I was being and it snapped me out of it, and I had to check myself and realize this kid is legit stood there asking me to beat her with a belt and I'm trying to be mad at her. She's honestly been so annoying recently. I realized I go into situations with her already with like half my patience gone. So I sat on my bed whilst she's still yelling at me and I tried my best to just get away from my anger and think about how I could actually fix it without making things even worse. How she was acting literally reminded me of dealing with 7 years old. So I was like, maybe I need to try treat her like I treat 7 years old. Which is literally just holding her until she calms down even when she's so mad at me. It's way more awkward with the older ones, but I realized it was worth a try before I full ruined it with her and made her never come to me again. So I pulled her into my lap and hugged her. Hell awkward at first, but I was like, this is literally all I have. RN. She fought me for a minute and told me to get off her. Ignored her and she eventually stopped fighting and relaxed and cried and then started saying, I'm mad at you, but in a sad way, not an angry way. I was like, I know you are, but nothing you say will make me hit you. Sorry for yelling at you, blah blah blah. Think she needed to just cry. She felt so small when I was hugging her and her crying was so sad, and she smelled like my body spray, which got me. BC, she has been acting like she hates me, but she still uses my stuff. BC, she wants to smell like me, which she used to do all the time. Then I started crying. She was still saying she wants her phone back and I felt so mean but wasn't gonna say yes. Just kept saying we would talk about it later, but I need to talk to Matt first. I was happy that I felt mean. TBH, because recently IDGAF when I have to discipline her, so feeling mean was good. BC, it shows I like her again, I guess. LOL. I should probably stop typing because this is getting way too long, and I'm rambling. But overall, we ended things on a good note. For the first time in ages, I feel like I'm in a good place with her, like we actually understood each other. We had to agree to disagree on some things, but we also acknowledged what we need to work on. I've realized I need to be more actively affectionate with her. I usually let the older kids come to me, but I think I need to be the one to initiate more. I don't think 14-year-old really knows how to just come up to me and say, I'm sad, I need a hug. And that's probably even harder for her when the younger kids are always attached to me. I need to make a real effort to show her more love and remind myself that she's still a kid. I also need to be more patient. I expect her to act more mature just because of how I was at her age, but that's not fair. I didn't have a parental figure constantly watching over me, setting rules, or even caring what I did. My mom wouldn't have batted an eye if I was doing OnlyFans at 14, let alone taking my phone at night to make sure I got enough sleep. So yeah, I wasn't like her, but honestly, that's a good thing. She's normal, and that's what matters. That said, I've been feeling really anxious about it all. Out of everything the kids do daily, none of them have ever literally begged me to hurt them like she did, and it's messing with my head. It makes me feel like I need to do more for her. We're still waiting for therapy, but I've already told Matt that she needs to be our top priority right now. She's been flying under the radar, and I think there's a lot more going on in her head than we've realized. We've always assumed that 17-year-old and 7-year-old struggle the most, but maybe that's just because they express it more. Now I'm spiraling, thinking, what if the others are actually worse, but we just don't see it? FML. On top of that, my anxiety has been through the roof. I panic if I don't have the baby with me and she's crying. My brain fully convinces me that whoever has her will hurt her just to make her stop. When Matt watched the kids so I could take 10-year-old out for her birthday, loudly crying face still feels weird saying 10-year-old. I was having such a nice time, but I kept thinking, what if he's hurting the baby while I'm sitting here, laughing and eating frozen yogurt? I know I need to get my head together, but yeah. Life is still mostly good, though. Probably sounds ridiculous to most people, but the smallest things make me happy. Like putting the kids to bed and just having time to shower, do laundry, and not worry about my parents or Nan being around. I used to live in a house where things could explode into a screaming match at any moment, no warning. Now, it's still chaotic, but it's kid chaos, not toxic adult chaos and abuse. And that difference? It's huge. It's the first time I've ever felt kind of relaxed. Having clean clothes, kids who feel safe enough to get out of bed to come ask me for something, stuff like that makes me so happy. So yeah, it probably makes no sense, but I'm somehow both hella anxious and hella relaxed at the same time. I said I'd stop talking, and yet here we are. If you've read this far, thank you, and sorry for the massive vent. Not even sure why I post these, but this whole situation threw me so much, I just needed to get it out and see if anyone has advice. I talked to my therapist and might try to get more sessions because I really don't want to be this anxious mess forever. I need to be able to leave the baby without having a mental breakdown. Also, I have no idea what to do about the phone situation. It's already caused so much drama, but keeping it from her indefinitely feels kind of cruel. I just don't know. Help. The kids started school, which has been a mix of emotions since they all feel differently about it. But so far, so good, except for 7-year-old, who is definitely not happy. But it's only been a few days, so we'll see. Also, thanks so much for the birthday ideas. I used a bunch, and I'll post about them once we've had the last birthday. Finishing this while up way too early with the baby, running on zero sleep, so yeah, excuse my tired ramblings.